Today's show, how to sell digital products online and physical stuff. I talked about that in today's newsletter. I have a weekly newsletter at joindamon.me. It comes out every Wednesday, just like this show. And I talked about it today in the newsletter. You can get it for free at joindamon.me. Too ashamed to sell. Seth Godin, who I got to know a few years ago when I did a program with him and got some mentorship with him, which I so appreciate his work. The the genius marketer Seth Godin talked about how when we don't share our gift with other people, when we are afraid to sell, ashamed to sell, in my words, then we're actually doing a disservice to the people that we could be helping. If you were stuck right now dealing with something related to getting your product or service off the ground, or pivoting out of your full-time job and building a strong side hustle to the point where that becomes what feeds you, or getting into passive income and you're not sure where to start, or you wanted to launch a book and you don't know where to go. And I'm sitting here with the information. It's like 60,000 words. I'm sitting here with like 60,000 words worth of information, and I don't share it with you. What's really the selfish move? For me to be too humble to not share with y'all, hey, I have a book that might help you get to the next level. Or as a selfish act, hey, I'm not going to share it at all because I'm afraid it's not good enough. Let's talk about it. That is a decision, that is a choice. And as we go through evolving from starting a business, which we talked about in the first section of this program, to building whatever we're creating, whether it's a digital product like software. My exit 10 years ago was an app called Cuddler. So you're creating a cloud, or creating something on the cloud or something that's software, or you're creating a product, which we talked about in the second episode in this series. You're going to go through all that, and then you're not going to share it with the world. Your product is never going to be perfect. And so often when we're in situations where we see someone who is struggling or having a hard time or just needs something, and we happen to have it, we can sometimes be under the cloak of humility and be like, no, 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 I'm not going to talk about it. No, 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 I don't like to brag. I like to be humble. No, you're hiding. It's actually a disservice. It's a disservice. I believe strongly in that, because if you have a particular POV, or to get old school, if you have a particular light and you're not allowing it to shine, that's just keeping you under the guise of being safe. That's not protecting you, really. It's just helping you psychologically feel better. And there could be people, communities, customers, if you're not comfortable with that word, you can find a different word, who could really use whatever you got. I'm really intense when it comes to words. I love conversations, as you can tell, this is episode 426. I love complicated concepts, and I happen to have a knack to be able to explain them relatively clearly to other people who might not understand the complicated concepts. That's a particular strength of mine. That's what I love doing. That's why I'm a teacher. That's why I coach. That's why I'm chilling with y'all every Wednesday. That's my strength. Imagine if I was too reserved, too afraid to share that with y'all. How sad would that be? Again, it's not a flex on myself. I'm just trying to give you an example. What is your particular POV, your particular strength? I have all these things that are not strengths, but I know what my strengths are. Me adding those strengths to the pot, kind of like a stone soup. The community adds it to the pot, and suddenly it's an amazing soup. But if you're withholding your stuff because it's not good enough, it's not perfect enough, you're afraid you're going to be ostracized or someone's going to be laughing at you, then you're doing a service to all of us. Straight up. Talk about that in the newsletter. As you can tell, I have a lot to say, but it really ties into one of the struggles, the quiet struggles, where, again, talking with today's episode, it's not just about the the mechanics of it, which we'll talk about the mechanics, and I'll give solid tools. All the links are below anything I'm talking about. But it's also about the psychology of it, which is a lot of the coaching that I do. So as you set up these e-commerce systems, as you set up your credit card payments, as you set up your website, as you go ahead and you put the proverbial open for business out, which I can't wait for you to do. Please jump in the comments if you're going through that right now. I would love to see it, and I'd love to support you. As you go through that, you might find some resistance where you feel like you're not quite ready. And so you can have the best e-commerce in the world. I've seen situations where people have literally had physical money out to pay somebody, and people have been like, no, it's not quite ready. Have you guys started pre-ordering? Get it together. But end up being a psychological block, not a technical block. As they say nowadays, it was not a skills issue. A skills issue is what we're going to talk about today as far as getting your systems together. But sometimes the systems issue is all up here. Again, I talk about the newsletter. Feel free to jump in. Newsletter is free. It's just something from the heart. And thank you for y'all for supporting the newsletter.